don't think there's hunting in that area, so
Pull
I don't think they
over
were.
and see if they needed a ride, Kyle.
No, absolutely not. You think I'm letting a dog in my car? Get out of here. No chance.
That's true.
No chance. Anyways, if you're gonna wear camouflage, know where you're walking or stay off. They were on the road.
Oh no.
You get one person not paying attention, one person not seeing great. Ooh,
On their phone,
stressing me out, bro.
not great.
Couple of interesting Kings trade related things happened last night.
Okay.
Trade things that are Kings adjacent. I shouldn't say Kings related.
Okay.
The first one may or may not be Kings related. I'm gonna pull up this soundbite because I think the sound is important here. Jimmy Butler held a not impromptu press conference, but was basically told the Heat media were basically told, hey, FYI, Jimmy Butler's coming out like right now.
Just because? Was it post game?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
He's coming out right now, just because. So if you want him, stick around.
Here he comes.
He's gonna be here. And I guess the typical move is if he doesn't come to the podium, you're not gonna get him in the locker room. He's just gonna be out of there by the time.
That's become the thing.
Yeah,
now.
right.
Yeah.
So here's what Jimmy Butler had to say about his time in Miami and his future in Miami.
And I don't shoot the ball a lot, but we won't sit here and say that I don't play hard.
What will fix it? What do you want to see happen to fix it?
What do I want to see happen? I want to see me get my joy back from playing basketball. And wherever that may be, we'll find out here pretty soon. But I want to get my joy back. I'm happy here, off the court. But I want to be back to somewhat dominant. I want to hoop. And I want to help this team win. Right now, I'm not doing that.
Can you get your joy back here on the court?
Probably not.
Dang. Probably not. He's out of there.
I don't know who exactly was doing the questioning.
I believe it was Ira.
Oh, you think that was Ira?
I think that's what I heard because I was watching Wes Goldberg, who does Locked On Heat.
Yeah.
And he was talking about this whole what was going on. And I thought he said it was Ira, but I'm not totally sure.
Okay.
From the Miami Centennial, whatever it's called.
Sun
Centennial?
Is it? Let's see. It's Ira Winderman.
That's it.
Interesting. So there's 1 day a year, every year. Well, no, it's 2. I'm sorry. 2 days a year where Ira follows me on Twitter. And then 2
times the Kings play the Heat.
Because the Kings play them twice. He'll follow me, and then directly after the game, he doesn't follow me anymore, which is hilarious.
That's I love that bit.
I do too.
Shout out to him.
Like it might be like a 2-day period where he follows me to make sure that he knows what's going on the day before they play and then the day of.
Sure.
And then as soon as they no longer are playing the Kings, then I get unfollowed by Ira.
He's out of there.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And he's cool. Like I mean, I've met him quite a few times. He's been around, but yeah, to me, I think it's pretty crazy. Do we have a Woj bomb?
A Shams bomb. No Woj bombs. R.I.P. Sacramento Kings rookie Devin Carter, the number 13 overall pick in the NBA draft, will be available to make his season debut tonight against the Memphis Grizzlies and his father, assistant coach Anthony Carter. Sources told ESPN Carter underwent left shoulder surgery in July. Devin Carter, welcome to the NBA.
Welcome to the NBA.
I hope he debuts tonight. I imagine he will.
Yeah, it's
He'll
possible.
play a few minutes.
I mean, he was good last night.
James really good.
Yeah.
I mean, 17, 12, and 7 with 2 steals and 3 blocks.
The cool thing that I've seen that I do think translates, and I thought it would translate when I watched him play at the college level, is the rebounding.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime you see a guy at the college level as a guard go out and average 8 rebounds a game, it's like, holy cow.
Yeah.
You watch the tape of him, you're like, oh no, he's going to average.
Yeah, he's not just in the right spot to have long rebounds.
No, he's gonna get 5
go
rebounds a game, like for a career at a minimum at the NBA level.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as he's playing like solid minutes, he's going to be one of the better rebounding guards in the league. He'll be there with the Josh Harts, and like he's not going to reach that height, I don't think. but he'll be around that area, and he'll be there with guys like Dante DiVincenzo, who's a great rebounder.
Yeah, really good rebounder.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm intrigued by it.
Yeah, interested to see if he plays tonight, how much he plays. But according to Shams, he will be available for the Sacramento Kings at Golden One Center tonight against the Memphis Grizzlies. We will dive into that game here in a bit. But Jimmy Butler, it looks like, so there was all that reporting from Shams that Jimmy Butler was going to be out in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Butler's agent goes at Shams, calling him a liar, saying all that, throwing everything at the book at how Shams sucks at his job. And then you've got Jimmy, without requesting a trade, going out in front of the media and going like, yeah, I don't have my joy anymore. I want to get my joy back. I'm not going to get it here. Just like, oh, okay. So if you want a thing that you're not going to get in that place, that means you want to go to a different place.
Yeah.
And then I guess they asked him again, this is via Wes Goldberg of Locked On Heat. He used to cover the Warriors here in the Bay Area. Does a good job doing stuff down in Miami now. He said that they asked Bam Adebayo if Jimmy Butler had indicated that he wanted a trade, and Bam was like, yes. But then they asked Tyler Hero about it, who came to the podium after Jimmy Butler, and he was completely blindsided by the idea.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
What a mess going on down in Miami.
That's not good. And I love that Jimmy says, oh, yeah, like off the court here. Yeah, it's
he's
South
like,
Beach, bro.
He's like, I'm having a great time here. Off the court.
Off the court.
Threw that in there. Here's where I'm at with Jimmy Butler and the Kings, because there's nothing there, right?
No.
Okay. I love the idea in theory. I love the idea of a veteran like Jimmy Butler coming in and playing a role for the Kings where he is the vocal leader. He's somebody who has been around. He's played in big games. He's as gritty and as scrappy as they come. Like you love Jimmy Butler as an idea. But like, there's a reason the Heat don't want to pay him. There's a reason that teams aren't fumbling over themselves to go trade for Jimmy Butler at this point.
Well, that, and anyone who honestly believes that Jimmy Butler's opting out of his $55 million owed next year,
No chance.
No chance. He wants an extension for sure.
Yeah,
but he's not going to walk away. So if you are trading for him, you're trading for him for this year and next.
Yeah,
but again, there comes a point where every player goes through this, where you'll put up with a lot of stuff because of how great they are.
Mm-hmm.
And then that slowly diminishes over time. And what I'll put up with for what I'm getting starts to counterbalance itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to a point where you're like, okay, he's not worth it anymore. As a player, it's not worth it for our franchise to deal with all of this. And, again, Jimmy Butler's great in the playoffs and all that stuff. He's likely a Hall of Famer. He's got, his resume is like he's 6 All-Star games.
Yeah, he's a great player.
Yeah,
he's going to the Hall of Fame. 1,000%.
Yeah, but at some point you got to look at him and go, okay, man, like you're getting to that point where whatever you're causing off the court, and he's been doing this for years. Don't forget what happened in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
He's been doing this for years.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, okay, man, like you're still owed $105 million between this year and next year, $107 million, whatever, for 2 years. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, because this doesn't feel good for anybody. And, find your joy. It's a line that De'Aaron Fox used last week, right? And I get it. Like, you do, as players, you can see when players lose their joy for the game. They're looking for, because that's the key word there is game. This is supposed to be fun.
Right.
It's work for players, but it's also supposed to be a game.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't find joy in that, if you can't find joy in the competition, then it does. You can watch it play out on the court. Like, guys, it's not like they stop playing, but they just look off. And so finding your joy, I get it for Jimmy Butler, but what he said versus what De'Aaron Fox said, I think are two totally different things. I think Fox still thinks he can find his joy where he's at.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Jimmy Butler feels like the joy is gone.
De'Aaron Fox would like to see the Kings make a trade for to help him.
Yes.
Jimmy Butler wants to see the Heat make a trade to get him the hell out of there.
The trade that includes him.
Yes.
Yes.
You want to talk about finding joy or losing your joy on a basketball court? I can describe how Jimmy Butler has lost his joy via box scores.
Okay.
Basketball Reference does their last 5 games. That's just what I'm going to go off of. Jimmy Butler, who averaged 20.8 points last year
Okay.
on 13 shots a night. This season, 29 minutes against Toronto on December 12th, he scored 11 points. He took 8 shots, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Against Detroit in overtime loss 4 nights later, 35 points, 19 boards, 10 assists, 4 steals, a block, goes 12 of 21 in 44 minutes. Since then, 7 minutes, no points, no shots. 25 minutes, 9 points on 5 shots. 27 minutes, 9 points on 6 shots.
Yeah.
That guy's done.
Cashed it in.
He's done. He doesn't want to. You talk. The Kings collectively appeared to quit on Mike Brown.
Uh-huh.
This is Jimmy Butler quitting. He's quiet quitting. That's what this is. And like I said, in theory, I love the idea of dropping prime Jimmy Butler onto the Kings right now is like, yes, that is the exact, from a mindset, from a skill set, that is a player the Kings could use.
Mm-hmm.
Every team could use prime Jimmy Butler. It was great. But 35-year-old, 36-year-old Jimmy Butler, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm
So
out.
thankfully, the Kings are out too.
Well, I mean, I've never heard anything to say that they would be in on him.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that there's a point where you can't like load up on 35-year-old dudes.
No.
That doesn't seem like. No. And I mean, any trade that you would make with the Heat would have to include DeMar DeRozan to get to the salary. And Jimmy Butler, just for accuracy's sake, he makes $48.4 million this year, and $50.6 million. It's like exactly at $100 million that he's owed between this year and next year.
No thanks.
Nope.
No thanks. I feel like Miami fell into the same trap the Kings kind of fell into.
Okay.
Where they had something, but they didn't know exactly what, and so they just didn't do anything. They probably should have traded Jimmy Butler like a couple of years ago.
Oh, no, I totally
agree. Committed to Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo. Last year you bring in
Jaime Jaquez,
and now you've got this nice little core that you can start to kind of put pieces around.
Yep.
And instead they went to the finals in 2023, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
it's Denver. Yeah. So 2023, you go to the finals. It's like, oh, okay, hey, there's something here. It's like, no, there wasn't. You're an 8 seed. Like, you just happened to make your way through the playoffs. You stumbled your way into the finals and got smoked. Like that is not, again, it's different levels because the Kings didn't make their way to the finals, but it's the same idea where you go, okay, well, there's something here. So we don't want to mess it up by making a trade, but also like you kind of need to make a trade to get to that next level.
Yeah.
And again, a little bit different scenarios, but the overall theme is the same. And that's why when we talk about the Kings trade stuff, to me, that's why there's so much urgency like now, because you can't wait another year or two. That you wind up here where Miami is mid as hell still. And maybe they'll wind up as a top 6 seed because they're in the East, but that's not a good team. Nobody thinks they're winning the final.
No, I mean,
especially if Jimmy Butler's out.
I don't even think they're carving their way through like into the second round. I mean, maybe because they're really, really well coached, and they always seem to have like a pipeline of players. But I think there's also something to like the Heat culture that you think you can withstand anything, and the fact is you can't. There is a limit to what you can withstand.
Yep.
And Jimmy Butler has shown you what that limit is.
Yep.
Like, hey, here's a limit. You can't handle this anymore.
Yep.
And that's when you got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, like, how do we get out of this? And like, they're still the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. So they're at a really bad spot because like if you're trading Jimmy Butler, you need something of value back from Jimmy Butler.
Right.
And I don't know what anyone is giving you as far as value. Like, look around the league. What team do you look at and circle and say, oh, they could really use Jimmy Butler? Outside of like Golden State might like try to make some move here to go get Jimmy Butler, but
sure.
Okay, well, you're just going to prolong this thing, like the slow death of the Golden State Warriors, which is already painful to watch, but that would be even worse.
Yeah.
Like, hey, look, now you're a train wreck. You're not just bad.
Speaking of teams that got paralyzed by not knowing exactly what they had, so they just didn't do anything. It's Golden State.
Yeah.
You had assets or what were assets 2-3 years ago. You went, oh, okay, hang on. No, we're going to wait and see. Well, you wait and saw, and they all stink.
I know now
So-
everyone's like, oh, they still won't give Kuminga up in a deal. It's like,
Kuminga's actually, here's the issue. Kuminga's playing really well lately.
well, of course.
He's been awesome. But the problem now is they're going, okay, well, wait. He's playing too well, so we can't give him up. We might need to build around it. It's like, oh my God, do something.
And you didn't extend him.
Didn't extend him.
So this summer, he's a restricted free agent, but you didn't extend him.
What a mess.
Yeah. Really, really interesting.
Whiffing on lotto picks can really doom a team's future prospects.
And they've whiffed on multiple.
Yeah.
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 I mean, tough luck.
Depending on, like I said, Kuminga's been really good the last couple of nights. Last 5 games, really, he's been awesome. But like, you can't have the number 2 pick and wind up trading him for a bunch of seconds so you can get Gary Payton the second back.
Yeah.
No.
And the funny thing
work,
is,
man.
you're not talking about when the Kings traded Marvin Bagley.
No.
Just saying.
No. Oh, boy. Yeah. The other more Kings adjacent trade thing that happened last night was Cam Johnson, according to reporters out of Brooklyn, left the arena on crutches last night because he suffered an ankle injury. X-rays came back negative. But that's the kind of thing that could dramatically alter the trade market. And I kind of wonder, does this make it more difficult for the Kings? In your mind, does this make the Kings front office go, oh, wait, hang on, slam the pause button on all trade talks regarding Cam Johnson?
I mean, I need to know, is it a grade 1? Is it a grade 2? Is it a grade 3 ankle sprain?
And
which I'm sure the Nets are more than willing to tell you, since you're more than willing to tell everybody else when you have player injuries. So go ahead.
So that's my question. Do they go, hang on, we're hitting pause, or do they go, what is it? Oh, it's a grade 2. Okay, cool. Well then, you can't have Devin Carter. What about a top 18 protected first? Because we're not totally sure how this ankle is going to respond. We'll take him, but we're not going to pay the premium for him.
Yeah, so this is always, always, always the risk.
Right.
The risk that you take when you run a player out there again and again.
Yeah.
You know, like I think if you're looking at from the Kings side, they've been waiting for this moment where Kevin Huerter hits like a whole bunch of threes for like a week straight.
Mm-hmm.
And like everyone's like, oh, okay, he's back. He's normal. Like, we're okay. We'll go trade for him. Like that moment's never come.
Mm-hmm.
Now this does put you in a weird position, because you're looking at we're about a month from the trade deadline, right? So how much is Cam Johnson going to play in the next month? And the answer could be he's not going to play at all until mid-February.
If he left the arena on crutches last night,
yeah,
you figure that's at minimum 2 weeks.
No, at a minimum is 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it does. It doesn't affect whether you would trade for Cam Johnson or not, because any trade the Kings should be working on right now should be for a long-term fix.
I agree.
I mean, it's the reason why Brandon Ingram, who has again been out with an ankle injury, the reason why Brandon Ingram is such a problem is because he's not under contract next year, and he wants a whole bunch of money, and nobody in the league wants to pay him the type of dollar that he wants, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cam Johnson is a safe bet because he's under contract next year at $20 million, and the year after that at $22 million. And so it's like this really, really reasonable 3-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also almost 29 years old. Like, he'll be 29 in March. And we looked it up before the show. If there's somebody that like Cam Johnson compares to, it's Harrison Barnes.
Like almost identically.
Yes. It's very strange. Like, it's uncanny, except for the fact that I think the biggest thing is we looked up by this point in their careers, Harrison Barnes had already played 670 NBA games, and Cam Johnson has played 315.
Yes.
Is that the number?
Yes.
So number one, he is injured.
Dude.
He's injured, but number two, he got into the league late. So this is sort of a double-edged sword.
Mm-hmm.
The good thing is he hasn't played a lot of games in his career. The bad thing is he hasn't played a lot of games in his career.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're hoping is that his career path can go like deep into his 30s, like 33, 34, and still be at a high level, because he didn't play. He doesn't have all the mileage that some other players do at the same age. He didn't get into the league until 23 years old, as opposed to a 19-year-old Harrison Barnes. So 4 years later. So there are reasons for this, but still, he is a player who has historically been injured.
And here's right. That's the other thing I was going to bring up here. Cam Johnson has played more than 65 games one time.
Yeah.
And that was when he played 66 in the 21-22 season.
It's a risk.
I will say he did play 57 in the shortened 2019-2020 year.
Okay.
And then he played 60 the following year. The 2021 season was shortened as well, right?
Yeah, they're back-to-back 72-game seasons.
And then 66, 42, 58, and then 32 this year, and he's about to miss some time. It appears he's going to miss some time.
Yeah. I mean, we're not talking about the Zion Williamson thing. Like people have missed this. I think Zion's played 6 games this year, and Keegan Murray is 1 game away from tying Zion Williamson for games played in their career, and he was drafted 3 years after Zion.
What I want to do a fun thing real quick. Zion was a 2019 NBA draft?
Yes.
That's
He's
right.
played 190 games in his career. Keegan Murray's played 189 games in his career, and he's a little over 2 years. He's 2 years and 2.5 years into his NBA career.
I'm trying to do some quick math. Stand by.
Oh no.
8, 19,
Quick math.
Yeah, Keegan Murray was 18 years old when Zion Williamson got drafted.
Oh. Huh.
And he's almost played more games than Zion Williamson in the NBA.
Yeah. And Keegan didn't make his appearance in the NBA until he was 21.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Ridiculous.
there's some crazy things that go on in the league, but I think that's one thing that we did point out. Like when we're looking at all the players that the Kings could go chase, whether it was this offseason or whether it was like, hey, the build up to like, should you trade? Who will you trade for?
Mm-hmm.
Like Brandon Ingram is the same thing. I mean, Brandon Ingram career high in games played is 79 in his rookie season. Since then, he hasn't played more than 64 games.
Mm-hmm.
And so that means that he's missing 18 games a year at a minimum.
It feels like this is more the norm in the NBA. It feels like every single guy we've talked about as a trade option for the Kings has been like, yeah, but he's hurt.
Except for Kyle Kuzma, who never gets hurt. But you're worried about a bunch of other stuff. You're like,
yeah. When you play the game at 80% or whatever he plays at, most of the time,
that's true.
You're probably doing okay.
He doesn't know where the speed button is on his controller. That's
All
funny.
Right. We'll keep talking about Kings trade stuff, especially after Devin Carter's huge performance last night in Stockton. Brock Purdy has a whole ass right elbow injury, and it's just being glossed over as if it's nothing. So we'll talk about that. We'll dive into the Kings-Grizzlies matchup tonight. It's a big one for the Kings. We talked about baby steps. This could be a big step forward tonight for Sacramento. We will get into that as well. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We are the Insiders. We're hanging out with you till noon, and the show's sponsor is Jiffy Lube, and it's ESPN 1320, Sacramento sports leader. Step aside for a second. We'll be back in a second. Second? Back in a minute?
Back in a minute?
I said
back in
there's
3
more
minutes.
units of time than second.
Yes.
I don't know.
Back in a few.
Thanks. Clear.
I don't think we were clowning on the Warriors. Like George, I don't know if you heard what Steph Curry said, but I think he said they're average or
Said
mid.
they're mid.
They're mid. Yeah. That's not me
I'm a
saying
Warriors
that.
fan, man. I'm allowed to shit on him.
That's Steph Curry saying that his team is mid.
Yeah, the Kings aren't great, but if the bar is that's not the bar. The Warriors aren't trying to be better than the Kings. But also their asset management's been a joke. They've done a really bad job. But it's tough, man. It looked in 22-23 like, oh man, Kings and Warriors are going to be really good for the next couple of years here. And now they've both just... Yeah. If he's not making shots, I'm not totally sure he's an NBA player.
Yeah.
He was good last year.
Plus, he looks just like the little brother from So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Right.
which is hilarious.
He should trade. He was constantly. But he was the option. Like they should have traded Jimmy Butler, whether it's for picks to build around Hero or Bam or whoever. I don't think Tyler Hero's great. He's just the other guy there next to Bam.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Curtis.
Sunday, Manny.
They don't have flexibility in their assets. They do have flexibility in their contracts. And it's getting less and less, but again, someone would take on DeMar DeRozan's contract, which is, you're on the books next year at 25.5 million, something like that. But the final year is only 10 million guaranteed. Somebody would take on that deal. Kevin Huerter's contract, Trey Lyles' contract, like you do have movable pieces. So I get their flexibility where they don't have flexibilities with their draft picks.
Yeah, about to be a mid-off on Sunday at Chase.
We're going to talk about the Sasha thing on the air, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll discuss the Sasha thing on the air.
Ooh. Maybe.
Well, I mean, yes, that's the hope. But again, if his agent comes in asking for $33 million a year or whatever, then no.
No, definitely not Duncan Robinson. Hell no. This is my point, though, Leezy. I think that they should have traded Jimmy to get better assets, to get better players with with Hero and Bam. Does that make sense? I don't think they have enough good players.
Yeah.
And trading Jimmy Butler a couple of years ago could have netted them some good players. Maybe I'm wrong.
Actually, they went from an interesting collection of like tryhards to like a kind of a weird collection of.
Yeah, I don't know
players.
if they were just like feeling themselves because they got that group that went to the finals was like the whole story was like, look at all these undrafted guys. And I don't know if they thought like, oh, we can just do this all the time or what.
Yeah. Heat culture.
Yeah, missing out on Dame was brutal. Oh, here we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
He's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. The Kings take on the Memphis Grizzlies tonight. Golden One Center. Massive test for the Kings. First couple wins with Doug were good little baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
You got to beat the shorthanded Mavericks. They did that. You got to beat a not great Philly team with no Joel Embiid. They did that. Tonight, Memphis, are they shorthanded? Yes. But man, it has not mattered this year. They've been shorthanded all year. Various players in and out of the lineup, and they still somehow enter tonight at Golden One Center at 23-11.
I think they're going to legally change their team name to the shorthanded Memphis Grizzlies. I mean, it's like last season, I don't know how many players they signed to 10-day contracts to get them through the year.
Yeah.
But they went into multiple games with 8 or 9 players on the bench, like 8 or 9 players total.
Yeah.
Like they could not stay healthy at all. And they're having the same exact thing this season. I mean, Santi Aldama is out with left ankle sprain. Brandon Clark is questionable. Zach Edey is questionable. Gigi Jackson is out. Yuki, our guy Yuki.
God, come on, Yuki.
He's questionable.
If Yuki Kawamura steps on the court tonight, I am breaking protocol and I am giving a standing O in the press section. I won't actually do that.
That's amazing.
I won't actually do that.
We're not done though.
Yuki.
Yuki.
Oh, God, that was a lot of names. Sorry,
no, Jake LaRavia is questionable.
Sure.
John Morant is out. Marcus Smart is out. Vince Williams Jr. is out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 players officially out. And a whole bunch of other players questionable, including Zach Edey, Brandon Clark, Yuki, and Jake LaRavia.
Jeez Louise, man.
The shorthanded Memphis Grizzlies.
And typically this would be the kind of game that I would be like, yeah, hey, the Kings are going to go win this one. If this was almost any other team in the league missing that many guys.
Yeah.
Especially missing guys like Zach Edey and Brandon Clark and Jake LaRavia and John Morant and Marcus Smart and guys who actually like played G.G. Jackson, really good player last year.
Mm-hmm.
But it hasn't mattered, man. They are just a tough. I hate using the term gritty with Memphis because that's just been their thing for a decade.
Yeah.
And it's different coach, different players, but that's just what they are.
It's been more like a decade and a half, 2 decades. Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
It's just that they're like the Steelers. I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers have been the exact same team since 1968.
Completely.
They're just like, yeah, the quarterback's okay. Like, I know Terry Bradshaw in his day was a Hall of Famer, but you just look at the quarterback production, you're like, yeah, the offense is okay, but really it's like defensively, it's just, can you get enough out of the offense? And they're going to be around. They're going to be in the mix.
An entire Neil O'Donnell era. I mean,
and they were in the mix.
Yeah.
They're in the Neil O'Donnell era.
Look at that. There they are.
Yeah. So Memphis, I don't know that there was a team. I was pretty low on the Clippers, and the Clippers have been good this year. I thought Memphis would be better. But if you asked me what would Memphis's record be after 34 games, I would have been like, yeah, like 18-16.
Yeah.
A couple games over. Maybe 19-15 if things really go well. They're 23-11.
It's wild. They're second in the Western Conference.
I think I dramatically undersold how good of a coach Taylor Jenkins is, and B, their buy-in and their collective buy-in to what they are as a team and their identity. Also, Scottie Pippen Jr. being able to play is a really significant deal for them. Because when John Morant and Marcus Smart have been out, they've had somebody who can capably run their offense. But they are fast as hell. They score a ton of points. I think they're number 1 in the league in points and pace. They shoot the hell out of the ball, both from 2 and from 3. And they're going to be grimy defensively. They somehow turn games into that like gritty, grimy style while also filling it up on the other end. Pause.
Yeah, this is something that, it's on Doug Christie to find in his team. There is something that the Memphis Grizzlies have been able to capture here, and it's Taylor Jenkins, whatever it is, the buy-in, the fact that they play for a true 48 minutes. Like, you can be up 9 with like 65 seconds left in a game, and they're going to make you hit every single one of those free throws.
Yep.
Like, there is absolutely no quit in this team, and it's a next man up mentality that he's created there, which is brilliant. And the way that they fight all the way through, it's not something you see on a nightly basis. So if you think you're going to blow out this team, okay, you can get up 20. You can get up 20 going to the 4th, but you got to know that it's going to get to 12 at some point.
You're going to get a dogfight.
And either you're going to punch somebody in the face and finish the job, or they're going to keep coming at you and you're going to end up, worrying about whether you're going to come away with a win or not. And this is a team that you look at on paper. The Kings they're way more talented. The Kings are way more talented than this team, this version of the team that will play tonight.
Yeah.
Than almost like the Kings are a talented roster, but that doesn't mean anything. If you can't go in there and fight and again, lay it all on the line, I think this is a very good test, because it's a test of whether or not you can keep the ball rolling and get right back on the right path and climb your way out of the hole that you dug. And so, again, I think this is where Doug Christie is trying to create a culture like you see with Taylor Jenkins, and it's the toughest task that he's going to face. Can you take a group of players that quit on a coach a week ago and turn them into a gritty team that is more than just high-end talent?
Yep. Yeah. That is, I don't want to say his number 1 priority, but it's way up there.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a Memphis team that, remember, the last time the Kings played them was the night after they beat the Rockets. They beat the Rockets 120-111, and we're going, oh, man, that's a great win. Is this the one that turns it around? And then they go to Memphis and didn't get blown out. Memphis only won by 5, but there was never a point in that game where you felt like, man, the Kings are really controlling this one.
Well, that and even John Moran had a horrible game. He looked
8 points, 2 of 13.
And then he either fouled out or got kicked out.
He got kicked out.
Yeah,
he got ejected.
It was bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like watching him the whole night was just, he looked horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's not playing in this game, but that doesn't matter. This team just keep plugging.
And here's why. Jalen Wells, a rookie, having a really productive year.
Sacramento kid.
Scottie Pippen Jr. having a really nice year. But then you go to that game back on December, 5th? Back on December 5th, Santi Aldama off the bench, 15 points in 29 minutes. Jake LaRavia, 12 points in 29 minutes. Marcus Smart, 18 points in 26 minutes. Jay Huff, 11 points in 20 minutes.
This is going to be the Jay Huff game. You know it is.
Dude.
The Jay Huff game.
Watch out for Jay Huff.
It will be the Jay Huff game.
We're not to keys to the game yet, but you better believe Jay Huff is going to be in my keys. Love Jay Huff, dude.
How is it that Jay Huff is what, like, we literally are worried about tonight for the Sacramento Kings?
Because it's the kind of guy that just kills them.
Well, yeah, him and John Concar.
Yeah.
Like that guy absolutely kills the Kings.
Didn't play in that December 5th game.
No.
He's
But
got revenge on his mind.
Every time he does play, you just watch. You're like, how did that just happen? How did he just get 3 offensive rebounds on the same play when he's half the size of everybody else on the court,
and then hit a 3?
And yeah, exactly.
You mentioned we already went through some of the injury report. You mentioned all the names for the Grizzlies. Devin Carter currently listed as out, but according to Shams, he will be available for the Kings tonight. He's listed as out on the G League assignment. Isaiah Crawford, Isaac Jones, Mason Jones, all currently listed as out on their G League 2-way assignments. Keegan Murray, at present listed as doubtful with left ankle soreness. And then Orlando Robinson is currently listed as out on a G League assignment as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Keegan's out again.
No, I don't think Keegan will play in this. I think they're trying to do everything to get his ankle / foot, whatever, the combination there, like, to heal up. They're trying their best to, have him go through as much treatment as possible to try throw the kitchen sink at it. Again, we've heard about some fluid buildup on the ankle. We've heard about, maybe a shot or two that he's had to have in that ankle. Just like he's beat up. And when you're a young player, that it doesn't matter, how well you take care of your body. If you get a lower leg injury as a player and you don't have enough time to let that thing heal, this thing could linger and linger and linger all the way through the season. We saw it with De'Aaron Fox like 5 years ago with a grade 3 ankle sprain. He came back and only missed, I think, 7 weeks with a grade 3 and never, ever, ever looked right. Yeah. And then it can become like plantar fasciitis, and there's all kinds of things that it can develop into.
Yeah. Starting lineups tonight, Kings, it's the usual. Fox, Monk, DeRozan, and Sabonis. If Murray is out, where do you think they go?
I think the way that Keon Ellis played last game.
I'm right there.
Yeah, especially with Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane is a kitchen sink dude. You got to throw everything at him because that dude has a way of out-muscling everybody on the court.
Yeah.
And the Kings don't have a natural shot blocker. He likes to get in the lane. He likes to fight all the way to the rim, and you need to figure out ways to
and he can shoot down.
Oh yeah.
Grizzlies starters likely going to be Scottie Pippen Jr., Desmond Bane, who we just talked about, Jalen Wells, John Conchar, and Jaren Jackson Jr. Keon against Desmond Bane is my matchup of the game.
Oh yeah.
If you can just limit him, you're not going to stop him. But if you can just limit him, it can dramatically impact what the Grizzlies do offensively.
No, I totally agree. And, I think Jalen Wells, everyone in Sacramento should be excited to see him because he is a Sacramento kid.
Yeah, salute.
And he's been really, really good this season. I mean, he's in the rookie ladder every single year, like one of the top 5 picks, the top 5 guys. This season, every single one of the rookie ladders, he's been in the top 5. This is a kid who's playing really, really well.
All right, that's James. I'm Kyle. Tonight's a big one for the Kings. We'll dive into some of the keys to victory and how Jay Huff is going to be involved in that. You can bet your bottom dollar on that. And we'll talk about how the Kings can take more positive steps forward coming up in a bit right here on ESPN 1320 and Sacramento Sports Leader. I want to shift gears and talk about the 49ers briefly.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Week 18 of the NFL a little bit later in the show. Jesse Tapia is going to join us. We'll have Mad Props Week 18 edition coming up at 11:30. Brock Purdy injured his elbow against the Lions. He got hit in the elbow late in the game. Brian Branch, Lions safety, blitzed off the edge. Niners didn't pick him up. Blindside hit. Purdy leaves the game. You saw him working with trainers, like trying to grip, do like a handshake type of grip. He tried throwing the football a couple of times and just shook his head. He was done. And Kyle Shanahan said it's not a UCL thing because he tore his right UCL in the 2022 NFC title game, had it surgically repaired. And Shanahan on Tuesday, when he spoke with reporters, said that it's not a UCL injury. UCL's fine, but he has a contusion and there's some stuff with like the nerves.
Okay.
In his elbow. And maybe this is a short-term thing. Maybe the fact that it's not being talked about is because it's not a big deal. And if this was week 5, he might miss this week and then play in week 6, and nobody would be the wiser that he had an elbow injury. But given what's at stake for him in the offseason, given what's at stake for him and the 49ers, with his contract coming up, the on Sunday, when the clock hits triple zeros in the fourth quarter, assuming they're not going to overtime, when the clock hits triple zeros at the end of that game, Brock Purdy's eligible for an extension. That's second. He could walk off the field and have a contract sitting in his locker. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's when he's eligible.
Okay.
And if he's got this elbow injury, that Marcus Mariota, former Titans quarterback, current, where is he? Washington?
Oh, he played at least
Is that right?
one game. I think he is with the
Washington?
Commanders.
He
He
was
played
a- he
one
was
game
at
this
Philly
season
last
for
year.
sure.
But he had a similar injury. It was like a nerve injury in his elbow, where he just for like the entire rest of the season couldn't feel the football
Oof.
because his nerve was just like rattling in his arm.
Oh, that's not good.
So I don't say this because I think that Brock Purdy has some major issue. I just don't think we can gloss over it like, oh, okay, it's not a UCL. Everything's going to be fine. If he had signed his contract, or if this was after his rookie season, we could wait and go, okay, let's see what he looks like in July. But the 49ers have a decision to make like now. I don't know that they're going to want to wait around. I don't know that Brock Purdy's going to want to wait around to see how his elbow responds to whatever treatment it's going to need.
Oh no, I mean, again, we talked about it earlier with Cam Johnson. Does it change like what you would give up for Cam Johnson? Does this change what you're gonna pay for Brock Purdy? Probably not, but you still have to know what's going on in there and whether this is his second elbow injury in 2 years, and like the UCL wasn't it an avulsion fracture where
No.
it wasn't? Oh, I thought it was like the UCL like pulled off the bone. Maybe
no,
I'm
he
wrong.
tore it.
Okay.
Yeah, and because it wasn't like a wear and tear thing, there was a different procedure they could do to fix it.
Okay.
Because it was a like blunt force injury.
Got it.
And
got
not
it.
because pitchers typically get it from use.
Yeah, it's an overuse injury.
Right.
Yeah,
and this
Tommy
was an
John surgery.
impact injury.
Okay.
So they could fix it differently.
Okay.
The reason I think the red flags go up for me is because the Christian McCaffrey Achilles injury was treated as, oh, it's just calf soreness. Oh, it's just a cat. He's fine. It's calf soreness. Going to sit him out for the preseason. He'll be good to go. And then it turns out, oh, he has Achilles tendonitis. He's going to miss the first 9 weeks. I guess 8 weeks because week 9 was a bye. He's going to miss the first 8 games.
Okay.
And then when he comes back, it's not going to quite be right. Like, so when they go, oh yeah, it's just a contusion. UCL's fine. Okay, I believe that. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm not considering the fact that Brock Purdy has an injury in his throwing elbow right before he's due to sign a massive extension.
Yeah,
that's scary, dude.
I would be concerned. I get the concern, and at the end of the day, like if they're having some reservations, I think the dollar amount comes down. Again, he did not have a good season.
Mm-mm.
Like the stats, like he just got to 20 touchdowns
Yeah.
passing,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got what 11, 12 interceptions.
11, I think.
I think he has 11 in the second half of games.
Ugh.
He has more interceptions second half than anyone outside of Kirk Cousins.
Yikes.
That's not good. So yeah, I don't know what to make of the elbow injury in full, but at the same time, like, look, this is something the Niners have to weigh. They have to weigh everything before they take the plunge here with a massive contract extension.
It's a red flag that goes up for me for sure. Again, not saying don't pay the guy, not saying that he's gonna his whole career is screwed, but I'm keeping an eye on that.
Yep.
Because if they go, hey, Brock, good year, lot to learn. We'll regroup next year. Excited about you moving forward. Go take a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get through the Super Bowl. Once the Super Bowl ends, we want to have this hammered out before free agency so we'll know what we're working with. So hit us up, or we'll hit you up after the Super Bowl. And they hit him up, and he's like, yeah, I still can't feel my hand. If it is that type of injury. Like, all of a sudden, you're going, oh, like, that's not good. So that's why, like I said, just a little red flag. A little red flag went up for me.
Okay.
Nightmare scenario, dude. I've also changed my mind. I was out on Damon Bruce, formerly of 95.7 The Game, now has his own YouTube channel. I saw him, and I forget who else. They were having a discussion about, like, 3 weeks ago, how the 49ers should sit all their guys.
Oh.
And with like three games to go, sit everyone. I'm like, you want to talk about losing a locker room? That's how you do it. If the coach quits on the team's going to quit on him. So if the coach goes, hey, by the way, all you star players, you're going to sit. You don't get to play football the last 3 weeks. You chumps, go ahead and get in there, finish out the year for us. That's how you lose players. So I was out on the idea then. But now, like, Deebo Samuel hasn't practiced to start the week. All right. Just
no, this is a white flag game.
Yeah, man. They've already announced that Josh Dobbs is going to start.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm
waving the white flag.
Colton McKivitz, our starting right tackle, hasn't practiced. Fine. Whatever. He's done for the year.
Okay.
Deommodore Lenoir got an injury thing, done for the year. George Kittle practiced yesterday, but it says he's got ankle and hamstring issues. If he's even a little bit sore, now you're done.
Yeah. No, I want to see Juwan Jennings try to get 1,000 yards.
Yeah, he needs 77 yards to get to 1,000.
I want to see Ricky Pearsall continue to grow and show that he's got more and just get him some traction as a player. And, like, look, you have a couple of guys like backup tight ends that you have to see. Like, that's a position that this team did not address at all. Yeah. But hey, how about you give these guys a shot to show that they can actually play?
Sure. What do you look like in a game setting?
Like, what do you look like? And if you're not good enough, then hey, maybe it's time to address that with a 3rd or 4th round pick and try to improve your roster that way.
I keep advocating for them to take Penn State's tight end Ty Warren in the 1st round.
Oh.
Bad use of resources probably, but man, he's a really good player and I really like watching him a lot. I'm excited to watch Josh Dobbs.
Yeah.
I think he might be I don't know that he's playing for a starting gig somewhere in the NFL next year. But I do think if he plays well enough and he doesn't price himself out of what the Niners can afford to pay a backup, he might be a player that they look at as a long-term option as a backup.
Okay. I would definitely consider it.
Yeah,
he's a super smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would love to see them grow somebody on the bench, like let them mature as a player. And when you do need them, especially if you have a quarterback with a second elbow injury in 2 years, maybe it's something that you start to look at.
One of a quarterback who can be in the program and develop and knows his role.
Yeah.
As a backup, which Josh Dobbs does very well. That's why I would look at, because you could bring Brandon Allen back, but do you feel good about Brandon Allen starting a game?
No.
I don't either.
I mean, I didn't think when he did start that he was bad.
It wasn't terrible.
No, I mean, he's got a big arm and, I think
he's in his mid-30s.
But his receivers let him down every step of the way. Yeah, I would much prefer, like, if you can get Dobbs on a 2-year deal this summer, like 2-year, like $7 million or something, just like keep a guy around and make sure that he's growing and learning in your program, especially a guy who, again, is like a very, very smart individual. Like, give him some,
literally an astrophysicist.
Yeah. Yeah. but he also has like physical tools. We're not just talking about like
Yeah.
like maybe if he learns everything from top to bottom, and you have a 5-game stretch where a
Mhm.
Brock Purdy is out, you need that
Yeah.
person there.
Yeah. And I don't know that just bringing like Tanner Mordecai is their undrafted rookie who's been on the scout team all year. I don't think that's the kind of player that you just want to bring in and be like, hey, yeah, go be in there. You're not going to fall into Brock Purdy again.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So I think having a player like Josh Dobbs could be valuable. But if he goes out and plays really well against Arizona, you might have a team like Cleveland that goes, yeah, hey, we need an inexpensive quarterback option while Deshaun Watson comes back from his Achilles injury. Here's $10 million for a year.
Yeah, or the Las Vegas Raiders need a
Mhm.
quarterback again. Maybe. I don't know.
I really hope the Raiders aren't looking at Joshua Dobbs.
Well,
I really hope that everything shakes out where they have like a rookie that they feel good about.
okay. I hope so too, but no guarantees there, man.
Winning a couple down the stretch hasn't helped.
Nope.
Again. They could pick, we're going to do this later. I'll just do it right now. The Raiders, the highest they could pick, where's my notes on this?
5.
The highest they can pick is 5. And to get there, they need to lose this weekend.
Okay.
I believe it's the Chargers. And then they need the Jets, the Panthers, and the Jaguars all to win their games.
Well, that's not going to happen.
You don't feel great about it.
No.
That's just to get to 5.
Oh, man. It's so silly. They did this last year.
I know. There's a chance if they win on Sunday, if the Raiders win, they could fall as far as 10.
That is horrific because 10 gets you out of the range of almost every quarterback in this draft, right?
Yes.
And
this probably gets you to you probably go to 9 because to fall to 10, New Orleans would need to beat Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay is not only, I think, pretty good, but B, playing to win the division.
Okay.
So I don't think New Orleans is going to win that game.
No.
To be totally honest.
No.
So if the Raiders win, you're probably realistically looking at picking 9th.
Oof.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, if they just lose and normal things happen, what are they going to draft? 7?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
7, 8, that range.
I'd rather be there than you start getting 8, 9, 10, and you're looking at other teams that need quarterbacks. And either way, the Raiders might need to move up in the draft to go get one of these quarterbacks just so they can secure something.
And that's the thing is, I don't know that there's a quarterback in this year's draft worth
moving up
like that for, because you're talking about the Raiders needing, there are going to be other teams in front of them that need quarterback. If Vegas is going to move up into the range, let's say they love Shedeur Sanders and they need to get up to 2 to get him.
Yep.
Or 1. Maybe it's Cam Ward. I don't know. Whoever your favorite quarterback is in this year's draft.
Okay.
You're going to have to give up so many freaking assets to get there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man,
and
that's tough.
They are in a tough spot once again.
Oh, no, they totally are. And looking at the teams around them, Tennessee at 3-13 needs a quarterback. Cleveland needs a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
New England at 3-13 does not need a quarterback, but
the New York Football Giants,
the Jets and the Giants, 4-12 Jets, 3-13 Giants, both need a quarterback.
Woof.
Yeah, not great. At least Chicago.
This is going to be the year. This is going to be the year. I love what the Raiders did last year, and I think they should do it again this year. Wherever they pick, stand pat. If a quarterback they love falls to them, great. But if not, just stack up another good player. Brock Bowers should he's not going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. That'll go to Jaden Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
But Brock Bowers should finish second in that voting.
Oh, he's incredible.
He should be an all-pro, first-team all-pro at tight end.
Oh, yeah.
He's been outstanding. Just stack another good player.
Yep.
I don't care about the position. The Raiders need good players in their building, quarterback or not. So, yeah, maybe you get another good player. Maybe you sign Josh Dobbs for a year and see how it goes.
Maybe you sign Sam Darnold to a gigantic contract. Or trade for McCarthy.
Ooh, what would I rather do?
Yeah.
Sign Sam Darnold. I think I'd rather trade for JJ McCarthy.
Okay.
Because I got to give up an asset, but I'm not financially committed.
But if you're the Vikings, would you rather sign Darnold or trade?
I don't know. I have no idea.
All right.
It's
complicated.
Fascinating. Kirk Cousins also likely going to be available. Anyways, we'll talk more NFL offseason coming up in a bit. We'll talk more Week 18 NFL action, and we've got some Kings trade stuff, plus our keys to victory for the Kings tonight against the Memphis Grizzlies. Tons coming up in the final hour here on The Insiders. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. He's James. I'm Kyle. It's ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Center. Entertain the people. I've got to do stuff.
Yep. Man, Brock Bowers, 108 catches, 1,144 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Yeah, he is good. Man, they had, and that's with like really no one throwing to him at all. Like, just wild. It's also crazy. Jacoby Myers, 78 catches, 904 yards. He's got a shot at 1,000 yards. What's going on, everybody? How are the good people? What would I do? Chris Ochoa, what would I do? I got to be honest. Sam Darnold is young enough. What are we looking at? Is he 28? Darnold. Let me look. Yeah, Sam Darnold is 27. I'm signing Sam Darnold to a long-term deal, and I'm trading McCarthy. McCarthy's coming off an injury. He hasn't been able to be on the field. Man, Sam Darnold has 4,153 yards, 35 touchdowns, and 12 picks. And you know, his career started out so poorly because he got drafted by a franchise that's just complete ass in the Jets.
Complete ass.
And then he went to another complete ass franchise in the Carolina Panthers. And so I would like to hold all that against him, but man, he's been spectacular. He's on a team that just wins. And, you know, again, we talked about they're 14-2. I think, Emmy, we're going to discuss the Sasha Vezenkov statement on in the next segment, I believe. So I'm not going to talk about it here, but yeah. Let's see.
Boop.
Let's see. The chat is wild. You guys are crazy.
Oh, I should probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Sam Darnold earned himself a. You might even be able to get him on a reasonable contract. Like, I don't know that you're going to have to pay Brock Purdy money for him just because of his career path. Sweet. Jiffy Lube spot got approved. All happened. Huh. I'm gonna sneeze.
Baby, hold my hand now.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah, Philip A. There we go.
Hey, my man. Congratulations.
Excuse me. Just mirrored it get cold in here.
Oh, it's game time. Here we go. Hour number 2. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're rocking with you until noon. Then we will hand it off to D-Lo and KC. The Sacramento Kings take on the Memphis Grizzlies tonight at Golden One Center. And we've talked about this a little bit earlier, but that Mavs win was good. The Sixers win was good. You'll take those. You need to collect those kind of wins against shorthanded teams. The Grizzlies are a little bit different beast. They thrive while playing shorthanded. They play a brand of basketball that has given the Kings some trouble over the last couple of years. And I think if they can go in and win this game tonight, match Memphis's intensity, get a star level performance from De'Aaron Fox, that kind of game, I think that would, to me, show a fundamental shift in what the Kings are doing, their mindset, and how they're going to look moving forward. I think it would represent that more than the last couple of wins. The last couple of wins were good. I'm not trying to discount them, but if you go win this game tonight, or you play really well, and you know what, man, Memphis just hit a couple of tough shots late and they ended up winning, it'll do more to sell me on the Doug Christie era than any of the previous 3 games.
No, I totally get what you're saying, but I would also say this, like what we saw in the last game was a shift in what has happened over the first 30 plus games of the season. The Kings had a team that was, pulling away.
Mm-hmm.
And in the last 3.5 minutes of a game, they figured out how to get stops and how to win a game that was close. So they came into that game, I think it was 3-11, and games decided by 5 points or less. They walk out with a win in that game, and they walked out with a win in a game that the week before or 2 weeks before they probably lost.
I agree.
And for whatever reason that is, that you came up with that win. I mean, we know what the reason. The reason is you attack the rim and you got stops, like straight up. Now, again, the team helped you. The team you were playing against helped. They did not execute down the stretch. They did exactly what the Kings have done multiple times this season, and just, they fell apart in crunch time, and the Kings didn't. But that moment in itself is something that I think that Doug Christie and his staff can pin and say, look at this. This is what we are going to be. What we were last week is not what we are today. This is who we are going to be now. We're going to be a team in the last 3 minutes of a game, gives everything that we have, that gets defensive stops, that goes out there and plays the right way in the last couple of minutes of the game. And we can turn this thing around just by winning close games. The next step is we don't get in a bunch of close games because we're thumping people. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Sure.
We showed that we can win a close game. Now let's start stacking those types of wins until we can start to build some separation. And look, the schedule isn't exactly, like the cream of the crop here in the next 3 or 4 games. You're going to have some tough games coming up, which, happens in the NBA. But for right now, this is, go get yourself closer and closer to 500. Get back to 500. That is such a key moment for this team.
Okay, and if you get boat race tonight, I don't care what you did against the Sixers.
No, that's true.
Like the Sixers win was, like I said, I'm not discounting it. This is a 23-11 team. This is a bona fide playoff team in the West.
Yep.
What do you look like against them? That's the next step to me. The first couple of wins, you called them baby steps yesterday. I think that's a great way to put it.
Yep.
This would be a legitimate step forward tonight. And that's what I think's at stake for the Kings. How do they get a win? Let's go through the keys, brought to you by nobody. Jiffy Lube, I guess. They sponsor the show.
There it is.
Shout out to Jiffy Lube. We love them. James Ham, keys to a Kings victory, number 1 for tonight.
I know this is totally bizarre, but keep a body on John Conchar.
Conchar.
He is sneaky good. He has destroyed the Sacramento Kings a couple of times. He's one of those players, I looked, per 36 for his career, he averages 8.3 rebounds per game at 6'5" as a shooting guard. He just doesn't quit. He has a motor, and he's crafty and a little bit dirty, but he's a guy that can impact this game in a really, really strange way. And if you let him do that, you're going to get beat.
Yep. That's we typically embody the rando that kills the Kings on the 3-point line.
Yeah.
John Conchar going in and grabbing a bunch of offensive rebounds after the Kings get a stop and Memphis gets second chance points, that would be another way a rando could kill the Kings tonight.
No,
Not
totally.
that contrast total rando. He's a good player.
He's a
but,
rando.
Yeah.
I mean, not to be rude, but I think even
he's not
he would
Jaren
say,
Jackson. He's not Desmond Bain.
yeah. I mean,
He's
this
not
guy
John
is
Morant.
averaging 3.1 points per game, and we're worried about him.
Key number one for me, I thought their physicality at the end of the Sixers game was really, really good. Playing physical defense without fouling. That was a huge reason they got so many of those stops down the stretch. You have to do that against Memphis. Memphis is going to be physical. You need to match that from the opening tip.
Yeah, I liked what Domantas Sabonis said about this. I don't think it was the last game. I think it was against Dallas. He said, we kept hitting them, and the officials kept calling fouls. Eventually, we showed that that's what we were going to do the rest of the game, and the officials stopped calling fouls. He's like, that's like, you have to show that you're going to play to that level of physicality the whole time. And it's not about, just fouling somebody to foul them. It's about like proving a point early on and cranking up the intensity of the game where the officials understand, okay, I'm
right
calling a really, really tough game tonight.
So it's the Legion of Boom Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
That's the philosophy. You're going to penalize us a lot. You're not going to penalize us on every play, though.
Nope.
So
here it is.
Stay physical.
Yeah. I think staying physical to me is a huge, huge thing for this team, and show that you're ready to, to match the physicality of another team.
Yep. Absolutely. Premature buzzer there, or premature ding there. Pause. Number 2.
Yeah, learn about what playing 48 minutes is, because the Memphis Grizzlies play 48 minutes. And if you don't believe that, just watch tape from them for the last 5 years. That's what they do under Taylor Jenkins. And it doesn't matter who's on the court. They are going to keep clawing and fighting all the way down to the end of the game. And the Sacramento Kings have struggled with this concept for 15, 16 years. Like, play it out. Just don't quit. Don't stop playing. They're going to give you an opportunity. They're way depleted. They don't have the talent to match you if you're playing at your best.
Yep.
But they're going to not go away. So if you give them a little bit of room, they're going to get right back in a game.
Yep. And that's what they do, man. And that relays a little bit into my second key. You mentioned having more talent. I've been pretty critical of DeMar DeRozan over the last few weeks. I think they need a big DeMar DeRozan night tonight. I think one of the ways you can hang with Memphis is slowing the game down a little bit. And I know that's atypical of what we say about the Kings. We're typically, especially Monk and Fox, it's like, get out and go, go, go. That's what Memphis wants. That is where they are at their best. I think if you can have a big night for DeMar DeRozan where he scores 30 and he's dribbling the air out of the ball and just getting to his spots and hitting shots and forcing Memphis to slow the game down like that, that is something I think would play to the Kings' advantage, and I think they need DeMar to have a big night tonight.
Yeah, that to me, like, DeMar is, it stood out the last week and a half, where he's just not playing the same pace and speed that the rest of the team is.
Yep,
and it totally stands out.
Yep.
And I know people don't like when I bring it up, like in 6 quick thoughts, like, oh, you're bringing up that, but you're not bringing up this mistake that someone else made. And it's like, are you watching the same game I'm watching?
Yep.
Yeah. So move the ball, but again, a big DeMar DeRozan night would be good for the Kings.
Yep. Number 3.
Embrace the Sacramento experience. This has been the worst of the worst home teams that I've ever seen. And to me, it's an embarrassment because Sacramento Kings fans deserve better on their home court. They bring it every single game. And I don't know what it is like that this team has been lacking, but I do know this. When Doug Christie brought the team up onto the roof of Golden One Center after the game the other night, and we were waiting in the media room like, hey, they're like, there's going to be a delay here with the players.
Yeah.
We'll be back in a minute. Sorry about it.
Because they're going to the roof.
We had no idea. They went to the roof, and Doug showed them the beam up close and personal, the beam lighting up the sky, Kyle. And he talked about, like, this is Sacramento. You are the light of the city. And if you are from Sacramento, you understand that is the case.
Yep.
And so I think embracing the Sacramento experience right now is a big deal. Like, if Doug is going to get buy-in, that's one of the ways he's getting buy-in.
You don't even have to, be from here. You could just live here for a while, and it permeates.
Oh yeah.
You fully understand it. I'm right there with you. Number 3 for me. I need a shooter to come to life tonight. Kevin Huerter, Doug McDermott, Malik Monk,
Trey Lyles.
If Keegan plays, Keegan. I need somebody to knock down some threes tonight.
Keelan.
Because Memphis is gonna hit some. They're gonna try and play fast. They're gonna get a lot of shots up. If you're gonna keep up, it's just the math. I need somebody. It can't be one of those 7 made threes nights. That is the third and final key for me. All right.
Go ahead.
That's James. I'm Kyle. It's Kings Grizzlies tonight at Golden One Center. It's a big one for Sacramento. I want to remind everybody as well, Week 18 of the NFL season wraps up this weekend. The Raiders taking on the LA Chargers in their season finale. Kickoff is set for 1:25. And you can hear that here on ESPN 1320, Sacramento sports leader. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was
talking about shooters.
Yeah, no, I was going to point out that the Grizzlies lead the league at 123.2 points per game. Like you better hit some shots.
Yeah, they score a lot. And
Yeah.
the thing with Memphis, it's crazy, is I feel like once a game I see a tweet from a Grizzlies beat writer or radio guy or whoever that's like, yeah, Memphis over the last 4 minutes has scored 49 points. It's not that many, but it's some insane amount of points in some ridiculously short amount of time.
Yes.
They will just go on these avalanches where there's just nothing you're going to do. And Jaren Jackson's going to hit a 3, and Desmond Bane's going to hit a 3, and then John Morant's going to get in the lane and score. They're really hard to stop. And that's why we could talk about the Kings offense all day, but defensively, I think it was awesome what they did at the end of the Sixers game. I need that night in, night out. You mentioned 48 minutes. If you get that, it reminded me at the end of last year, where the defensive intensity was just really, really good. And when the Kings do that, they have the offensive firepower to be really hard to beat.
No, I totally agree. I mean, this team right now, Kyle, their offensive rating, Memphis, this is per Basketball Reference, so it's not NBA.com, but 116.8. They're 6th in the league. Defensive rating, 108.2. They're 4th in the NBA in defensive rating.
Man.
Their net rating is a plus 8.6.
Is that the best in the league?
No, I don't think. But
no, it's 4th behind Boston, Cleveland, and OKC.
Yeah.
OKC's defensive rating is 103.4.
Yeah.
That's outrageous.
Well, I mean, that's what their team is.
Man.
Yeah. And that's without Chet.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Cleveland at 121.9 offensive rating.
Oof.
There's some really good teams in the league this year.
Kenny Atkinson is not getting his flowers that he probably should be for that Cleveland team.
Yeah, I agree.
That
Do you know
Cleveland
they're on
team,
pace for 72 wins?
That's wild.
They are 29-4.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I mean, that is absolutely crazy. And again, they're a team that, like, their net rating, their defensive rating is incredible. Their offensive rating is number 1 in the league. They're 6th in defensive rating. They're a plus 11.8. That's wild, man.
Really good team.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kenny Atkinson, man. What's funny about this NBA season is I feel like everything I watch and everything I'm taking note of has to do with like next year and beyond. Because I still think Boston's going to win the finals this year.
Yeah.
I think it might be tougher for them this year than it was last year.
Maybe. I don't know, though.
But they're at 25-9. They have a plus 10.7 net rating, and they're in cruise control.
Mm-hmm.
But you're seeing proof of concept with Cleveland. You're seeing proof of concept with Oklahoma City. Memphis is still really good. The Knicks have been playing a lot better lately after their rough start. Orlando, with what Paolo was doing and what Franz was doing while Paolo was out, if those two guys start to figure it out together, Orlando's all of a sudden really excellent.
If they get healthy, and they lost Mo Wagner too.
Yeah.
I think for the season. Like they've had a lot of injuries pile up. The crazy thing with Cleveland,
Houston, Dallas, sorry.
Cleveland leads the league in 3-point percentage at 40.7.
Mm-hmm.
They also lead the league in 2-point field goal percentage at 58.3. Their overall field goal percentage on the season, they're shooting over 50% from the field.
Good God.
50.4. Yeah, just like absolutely crazy good.
That's outrageous.
Yeah.
Really, really good team out there in Cleveland. We talked about Raiders draft scenarios last segment.
Mhm.
49ers NFL draft scenarios, because that's where they're at. Here's a weird thing that can happen. The 49ers are clinched last place in the NFC West. Fourth
Okay.
out of 4, no matter what happens on Sunday. They could win by 100 points on Sunday, still last. If they beat Arizona, they'll finish with the same record as the Cardinals, but behind them in the standings, but also behind them in the NFL draft.
Huh?
I need to figure out how that can happen. Because in the standings, the tiebreakers are different. It's like it's head-to-head, and then it's record within the division, and then it's not, I think conference is 4th, but it's like scheduling or common games, record in common games.
Okay.
I forget exactly how, but that's how those tiebreakers are. The draft tiebreaker is strength of schedule. The 49ers have the highest strength of schedule in the league.
Okay.
So they don't win any tiebreaker. They fall to the bottom of whatever teams they're tied with in the draft.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're going to finish behind the Cardinals if they win, behind the Cardinals in the draft and in the standings.
Oof.
That feels like a thing that shouldn't be able to happen.
No, that does not feel like it should happen.
But the 49ers currently slated to pick 11th. That's the highest they can go. Because the best they can do is tie with the Saints, and they're going to have a better strength of schedule, so they're going to finish behind them. So 11's the highest they can go. The lowest they can go is 14th.
Ooh.
So we're going to do some scoreboard watching for you for whether the 49ers pick 11th, 12th, 13th, or 14th. If they lose to the Cardinals, they pick 11th, no matter what happens. If they beat the Cardinals, and the Cowboys beat the Commanders, and the Colts beat the Jaguars, the 49ers will pick 12th. If the Niners win, and one of the Colts or Cowboys loses, they'll pick 13th.
Okay.
If the Niners win and both of those teams lose, the Cowboys and the Colts, the Niners will pick 14th. So you bet your ass I am finding a broadcast of Colts Jags week 18, and I'm locking in.
Are you gonna like 4-box this thing with all of? Oh God.
Because the Cowboys and Colts both play at 10, and the Niners are 125.
I'm just wondering, like, where are we at with like who's okay? So in the top 10, just looking at like a basic CBS Sports.
Yeah.
I'm looking at CBS Sports. Josh Edwards has his mock draft.
Okay.
And in the top, like, because I'm of the opinion that the 49ers very specifically need defensive line, offensive line help.
Yep.
They've got Mason Graham going at number 3, defensive lineman. They've
really
got,
good player from Michigan.
They've got an edge rusher, Abdul Carter, at number 6.
6th? Wow.
That's where they have him.
Okay.
Number 7, they have Will Campbell, an offensive tackle, 6'6", offensive tackle.
Texas?
Let me see. LSU. Number 9, they have Kelvin Banks Jr., an offensive tackle. 6'6".
Texas.
He's Texas.
Right.
And then number 10, they have an edge rusher, Mikael Williams. And then what's that?
Georgia?
Yeah, Georgia. And then Nick Scorton, out of Texas A&M, a junior edge rusher. They have him at number 11. Like that's what the 49ers need. Like Kenneth Grant all the way down at number 15th.
Kenneth Grant, really good player.
Yeah, Kenneth Grant out of a defensive lineman out of Michigan.
They're going to be in a really good spot in that 11 to 14 range to get a good player at a spot they need.
Yeah, yeah. And that's kind of what they really, really need is like whether it's offensive line help or defensive line help, you got to start planning for the future without Trent Williams. But you also need an improvement over Colt McKivitz. You're going to have a tough time retaining Banks, right?
Like, yeah, Aaron Banks at left guard. I don't know that they'll do that in the first round, but you need defensive tackle help.
Yeah.
You need defensive end help, I think, more than anything. They have a lot of holes to fill.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how just the draft kind of shakes out, because what a mock draft looks like today is not what it's going to look like in
like 6
March.
months. Yeah, because this thing drags out worse than any draft process of all time.
Oh yeah, it started. Your boy at NinersWire.com, you hit me with a mock draft, I'm writing it.
Yeah, you're already
tapped
ready?
in. I'm tapped in. I really, really need, speaking real quick of playoff scenarios in week 18. We'll dive a little further into this with Jesse Tapia coming up here after Mad Props. But actually, you know what? I want to save this for Jesse. I want to save this for Jesse. College football playoff.
Okay.
Briefly. The top 4 teams lost. All 4 teams that had a first round bye lost their first game.
Oof.
Oregon got blown out by Ohio State. Georgia got beat by Notre Dame yesterday. I'm not going to say blown out. It was 23-10, but that game was a lot closer than the final score.
Okay.
Notre Dame scored a touchdown right before the half. No, they kicked a field goal right before the half and then forced a fumble on the first play from scrimmage and then scored a touchdown right before the half and then returned the second half kickoff for a touchdown.
Oh, yeah. So that looks a little
Just
lopsided.
avalanche, but Georgia played really well. So Georgia loses. Boise State got beat by, was it Penn State? Yeah, Penn State. That's right. And then Arizona State had that double overtime thriller against Texas, and they lost.
Oof. Scatterboo.
He was awesome. Sac State legend. Stingers up.
He was so good.
I saw some guy, I don't even know his name. Gina from our sales staff sent me this video of this guy from CBS Sports whining about the college football playoff. And I don't disagree that the college football playoff needs to tweak how it gives out buys, because the best teams didn't get buys and it led to these weird paths through the playoffs. So you weren't getting a true like pyramid, right? Or I guess it's supposed to be like an inverted pyramid. Like the quote unquote worst playoff teams all play at the beginning and then that all filters down, ideally, right? If everything goes chalk. So I get that they probably need to change the way they dole out the top 4 seeds. But the whiny guy from CBS Sports complained that they're going to crown the best team in the playoffs, not the best team in the season. Newsflash to CBS Sports guy. That's the point of the playoffs.
That's the way it works.
That's why they do playoffs. So we don't just go, on vibes, let's see. Oregon, Ohio State, you're the 2 best teams. You're playing for the Natty. Like, no, that's not how this works. They rank 12 teams. Those teams are in the playoffs. And then whatever happens, do they crown the best team in March Madness every year? Does the best team in college basketball win March Madness every year?
Very, very seldom.
Very rarely. Does the best team in the NFL win the Super Bowl every year?
Well, I mean, you could say maybe the Chiefs, but I would even make the claim that the 49ers have been a better team.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would through the full season last year, the 49ers are better than the Chiefs, but guess what? It didn't freaking matter because the Chiefs won in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
They were the best team in the playoffs.
Them are the rules.
That's what matters, bro.
That's all that matters.
That's how this goes. It's the best team in Major League Baseball win it every year? No, sometimes, not all the time.
No.
That's why playoffs are fun. That's why everybody wanted a playoff.
Yeah.
To see, hey, let's let this play out on the field. Let's let these teams duke it out. And sometimes, you know what? Yeah, Georgia's going to face plant against Notre Dame. And you know what? Sometimes Oregon's going to lay an egg against Ohio State. And did Oregon get a little bit screwed by their draw? Sure. Did Georgia get a little bit screwed by their draw? Sure. And can they do something to fix that in the future? Yeah, I think they can. But crowning the best team in the playoffs versus the best team in the season, that's the point of the playoffs. Man.
Yeah, the regular season means nothing. I mean, it does mean something, but it doesn't. But at the end of the day, that's not the way that it works. I mean, it's
nobody cares that the 73-9 Warriors won 73 games.
Oh, yeah.
Because they did not win the championship.
Nope.
That's how it goes, dog. Welcome to sports.
Yeah.
College football doesn't get to be different.
No.
You have a playoff, you play the teams in front of you, and you crown a champion.
That's right.
That's how this works. Shout out to the college football playoff. Hasn't been the best. I've been enjoying it. You can listen to the semifinals right here next Thursday and Friday on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. All right, mad props to Jesse Tapia coming up next. And we got NFL playoff clinching scenarios, the games you need to watch in the NFL this weekend. If you don't want to watch the Niners and Raiders anymore, which I would totally get, there's still plenty to check out, and we'll get into that as well. He's James. I'm Kyle. Jesse Tapia going to join us next for Mad Props here on ESPN 1320 at Sacramento Sports Leader. Clear. Do you want to grab Jesse's computer?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Man, it's cold in here. That's what made me sneeze. Like the temperature changed out of nowhere.
Yeah, this is something that me and a couple of my buddies in a group chat always talk about. How Andy Reid is turning the Niners into the Bills. Yeah, man, they looked awesome.
We never talked about the Sasha.
Ah, damn it. We'll do that. We will push Mad Props to talk about Sasha. Sorry, guys. Oh my god. Get this out. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'll be over there in a sec. Oh. Is Jesse wearing a hoodie?
Of course.
That's from the lights on.
Is Jesse wearing a hoodie? He asks.
Yeah. He just kind of blends in when we don't have the lights on. Hello. Should we just talk about that situation right now?
Sasha?
Yeah.
No, we'll do it.
Okay.
Literally, we'll do it right now after.
Okay. I thought you were being sarcastic.
No, I'm dead serious.
It's fine.
I want to talk about it.
What's going on? Let's see. Here comes Jesse. Oh. What's happening, man?
Happy morning to you, Jesse. Will you? Thanks. You're a pal. You're a good friend. You're a good friend. What is, James, I know you've got a bajillion, and I know I do too. Jesse, do you have things with your name that like get old after a while? Like for me, it's people talking to me in Cartman from South Park's voice.
I'm not a big fan of the tilapia one.
That's trash.
Tapatio was always fire. That always works.
Mm.
In high school, when they were doing like class elections and stuff like that, as a joke, I put up, like, me and my friends put up flyers around the school, and I photoshopped my face on the Tapatio guys.
Hilarious.
They wanted to like vote for Jesse and stuff like that. It was a big old hit.
Did you ever win?
No, but I mean,
But he
I
had a
wasn't
good
actually
sign.
running. It was just a joke.
Oh,
I was
got
just,
it.
yeah, I wasn't
Okay.
actually part of it.
I was
just
like, wow, I didn't take you
I'm
for
gonna
student government
I'm
guy.
gonna throw
Let's
my
talk.
yeah. I was like, I'm gonna throw my own signs out. But yeah, I mean, nah, nothing really gets old. I'm a big nickname guy too. Like, no one really calls me Jesse, so
No one calls you Jesse?
not really.
What should we call you instead?
You guys call me Jesse, but
Yeah.
like my family and stuff, they don't call me Jesse really.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
What do they call you?
we got to find, I know what they call him. We got to find a nickname for Jesse.
I don't think we do. I'm fine with it.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Uh,
All right, here we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
James Ham, Kyle Madsen, and Jesse Tapia. Jesse in the building joining us. We'll get to Mad Props here in a moment. Jesse, of course, the producer of D-Lo and KC, which is coming up in 26 minutes right here on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. Before we dive into Mad Props, though, James, we got to talk about this, and Jesse, sorry. James and Jesse, we got to talk about this quote from Sasha Vezenkov.
I saw that.
Okay.
Currently playing for Olympiacos. He told, I want to make sure I'm crediting this correctly. Basketnews.com.
Basket News.
It's a website that covers baskets, longer burger baskets, things of that nature.
Weaved baskets. Yes.
He talked about Mike Brown's firing. And he said, quote, I try to learn from every coach, but I won't lie. The experience with him was not, talking about Mike Brown, was not the best for me. I will not criticize. I would never criticize someone's knowledge. He was coach of the year in the NBA twice, so he proved something. And then went on to mention that he was not always honest with his communication. Thoughts?
Okay, look. When you go out and sign a player that's tearing up Europe, and then you get them in your own building, and you see what they look like against other NBA talent, what are you supposed to say to somebody? I'm sorry, your feet don't move fast enough to play at the NBA level. I'm sorry that, if you're not shooting 3-pointers, then you're not going to play at all.
Do you think it had more to do when he says the communication wasn't honest, like what his role would be? Like he felt like he got tricked into coming over here?
Well, I mean, but that's not Mike Brown. And that's where that's one of the problems. That's not Mike Brown tricking him into saying, hey, come over. Now, Mike Brown did go over there and was sitting courtside and watched him play overseas and hey, we like what you bring. But
wasn't it Mike Brown who said early on too, I don't even know if Sasha will play? I'm pretty sure that was like right as he was getting to the team and all that. Mike Brown even said that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's where you got to be on the same page as front office. And if you're a coach and you go out as a front office and get a purely offensive weapon from the European game that is so slow footed, it's crazy. And there wasn't enough time here. Plus he had an injury that cost him a bunch of time. That wasn't Mike Brown. That was, the injury was medical staff. Look, at the end of the day, I think the Sasha experiment was not a good experiment for anyone involved. And it didn't feel good for anyone because you got a player who, just because you play in the European game and you're a European MVP does not mean that it instantly translates and you're going to be a very good role player at the NBA level.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and you're certainly not going to be an MVP.
I also kind of wonder too if, and again, I wasn't there. I don't know, but I do wonder too. Communication is a pretty big thing, and that's something that Sasha talked about in his quote was Mike Brown's communication. I do wonder too if Mike's communication style just didn't jibe with him and him being Sasha and other players. He didn't adjust the way he coached De'Aaron super hard and was very open about, we need more from De'Aaron. I need him to be angry every night. I need, he's a superstar. And if he wants to make that leap, he's got to do X, Y, and Z. And he was just on his ass like that. Pause. I wonder if that's the approach he took with everybody and if that didn't sit right with everybody.
I don't know. I mean,
I literally, I'm asking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Most players that played for Mike really liked Mike. I mean, there are some players that don't, and don't like all the practice time and all that stuff. There's always going to be someone who doesn't have the same, feelings about you. I mean, even go back to year one of Mike Brown when they won 48 games. There were players in the locker room that were like, hey, number one, we practice too much, or number two, I don't like my role. And some of those players aren't in the NBA anymore. And that's the way it goes. I mean, so I think that they're managing somebody's, what promises were made to somebody and all that stuff from over, like it's difficult because again, as a coach, it's your job to put the players on the floor that are going to help the team win.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up. And that team won 48 games. They were third in the Western Conference. And I think Mike did, well, it was the next season, 46 games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that like, I don't know that Sasha Vezenkov would have changed the outcome of the season at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, end of
Sure.
story. Like, I don't know how he could have changed the outcome of last season for the Kings.
Yeah, you understand why Sasha feels that way, but you also understand why Mike didn't play him. So,
yeah,
I think everybody's right here.
Yeah, fine. It's good, Sasha. Yeah. No worries, bro.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. I do wonder. I see Sass in the chat saying that Mike Brown can't develop players, and that Neemias Queta is evidence of that. I would say if you're putting it all on Mike Brown, because again, at the professional level, the head coach is not quote unquote developing players. Players do most of that work in the offseason. But I do think there's something to giving that player a chance, giving them, some kind of role where they can go play a little bit. The thing is the margin for error with Boston is so much wider than it is with Sacramento.
Yeah, I don't really like those, like, oh, he developed in Boston and not Sacramento. Like in Boston, he had every opportunity. Hey, we're gonna throw you out there the last 10 minutes of this game because it's over. So just go ahead and play ball and
right. And when
he literally had like stages like he was hitting and all that.
Right, and you can do that because Boston can afford for Neemias Queta to make some mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
They're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Sacramento could not. I would say that Malik Monk developed here. If you're putting it all on the coach, Malik Monk is the best version of himself that he's ever been. Domantas Sabonis was put in a position to be the best version of himself that he's ever been.
De'Aaron Fox's stats are better than any time in his career.
Great point. So I wouldn't. It's not like I'm not putting Sasha's NBA career, quote unquote, on Mike Brown. I'm not putting Neemias Queta developing in Boston in ways that he didn't in Sacramento on Mike Brown. Like it's all situation.
Yeah, well, and we're talking about again, not to disrespect Nimi because I love him
disrespect him. Let's go.
Whoa! He's with us now, so relax.
He's averaging 5.5 points and 4.5 rebounds per game. And if you look at the per 36 numbers, he's basically the same exact player he was in Sacramento.
Well,
actually, he's less than the player he was in Sacramento. And like, I'm not, again, trying to take away from Nimi's doing, but it's a lot different playing alongside Jason Tatum and playing alongside Jaylen Brown and playing alongside a team that has a defensive identity that is like, so when you go play your 12 minutes or 14 minutes, whatever it is for the Boston Celtics, you don't have to do anything but rebound and be in the right spot.
And catch a lob. That's what Neemias Queta's job is on the Celtics.
Yep.
Rebound and catch this lob.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I'd also like, if you guys really want to know, like Sass made this point here, Neemias Queta was like second in MVP balloting in the G League and was all NBA, all G League first team, and he was all G League defensive first team. He developed here in Sacramento. The difference is that the Kings didn't have all the players around him to make him take that next step and to be able to hide his deficiencies at the pro level. And whether you can say that what JaVale McGee had those or not, it's just that Mike felt more comfortable with a guy that he had coached before and is a seasoned veteran than he did with a young player. And I think the Kings mishandled that situation and that they should have kept Neemias Queta on the roster. And, you know, waiving Nerlens Noel is one thing, but you probably should have kept Nimi on the team. But he also didn't want to sit there and play in the G League the whole year.
Yeah.
And so I get it. You gave a kid an opportunity and he went somewhere else and has found better success. But, I mean, Keon Ellis was an undrafted second-round pick. If you don't think he's developed in Sacramento, you're crazy. Like, just because Colby Jones hasn't developed, I don't know what to tell you. Even like Mason Jones averaging 9.5 assists per game. He's shooting something like 57% from three at the G League level. He's developed.
It's not like they're botching a bunch of lotto picks.
No.
We're talking about like late first, second round undrafted guys.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's where this team's like, oh, like that's why it's like, yeah, I guess you want to point that out. That's fine. We can have a conversation about it, but well, it's not like high on the list.
That to me, the inability to find players is more front office based,
yeah,
than coaching based to me.
Well, even that, but like, look at
Maybe I'm
Davion
an insane
Mitchell.
person.
There's nothing that Mike Brown or his coaching staff could do to make Davion Mitchell like 3 inches taller.
Yeah.
Like, or make him like they worked with him and he
Mhm.
didn't hit his shots in games.
Yep.
At the end of the day, that's it. Like, have guys like
You can't play
regressed?
4-on-5 on offense.
Okay, but Kevin Herter, like we can see, Kevin Herter had the best season of his career his first year in Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
Arna, like the best season of his career.
Yeah.
Like they helped develop him and put him in a situation to succeed. After that, whatever happens, like maybe maybe the problem is they aren't able to continue. Maybe Mike Brown's people weren't able to continue to keep somebody either engaged or on the right path. But I don't think I don't know. It's too early. It's too early, especially with a guy like Keegan Murray.
Want to get to mad props?
Yeah.
Oh, it's your show, bro.
Sick. Thanks. Sick. Now my button's not working. I love
It's
it.
time for Mad Props. 2 games, 2 props. Which number will be higher? That's for Kyle and James to decide. Here's Mad Props.
Yeah, Kyle, James, and Jesse. It's been a while, but we are back with mad props. We are going.
Was an absurdly long break, it felt like.
Yeah, well, we weren't here for a while.
Yeah, I came back to the board yesterday, and like we didn't come to break. Our first break, like you were there, it took us about 5 seconds to go. It was a little weird yesterday.
Yeah, a little strange.
Yeah.
But we're back. That's why you get the short week preseason. We're locked in next week. All right. 49ers game Sunday against the Cardinals, and the Kings game tonight against the Memphis Grizzlies. So we're going to start. Jesse, we will start with you because your Miami Dolphins have a big game coming up this weekend.
Brother, do they?
We're big Chiefs fans this
I
weekend.
cannot believe we're still here, but we're still here.
We have never been more back than we are right now. We'll talk about why here in a second. Jesse, we'll start with you. Josh Dobbs pass attempts or DeMar DeRozan points?
DeMar DeRozan points. Give me Josh Dobbs like 18, 19 pass attempts or whatever. I'm going to go DeMar DeRozan about 20 to 26 points.
Ooh.
I don't know why, but that's how I feel. And it's Friday.
James?
I'm going to go Josh Dobbs.
That's the way I went.
All
Okay.
right, whatever then.
Well,
I do think
pissed.
I do think the Kings need a big game from DeMar DeRozan, but I don't know. It feels like the way the 76ers game finished. I think we're gonna see them not phase out DeMar DeRozan, but I think it's gonna be more De'Aaron, more Domas, and more Malik, and less DeMar DeRozan in the offense.
Okay.
Maybe I'm insane.
Maybe you're right.
I'm going Josh Dobbs pass attempts.
Sounds
I think the
good.
Niners are going to want to see what they're getting with Josh Dobbs. Isaac Guerrero a little banged up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Isaac Guerrero rushing yards, James, or Kings total points after 3 quarters.
Ooh, I'm going to go Kings. Oh, wait. This is a really, really good defensive Memphis team.
Mm-hmm.
I think 72 is probably like a good number. I don't think Guerrero gets there. His body is beat up, and I just don't know that he's got that in him in the final week of the season.
Jesse?
I'm going to go Isaac Guerrero.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm going to go Isaac Guerrero. I
Big
like
game
that
for
number
him.
that James had after like about 70 so points for the Kings. I think Guerrero will top that at least.
So you think it's just a big game for Isaac Guerrero?
Yeah, you get 80 yards and whatever. I feel like comfortable with that.
I think he can play. I think he's a good player, especially after he only had 9 carries last week. Might try and ride him here in week 18. Pause. Ricky Pearsall.
Today,
I know 3 times. Ricky Pearsall targets or Keegan Murray rebounds.
Oh, this one's easy. I feel like I'm gonna go Ricky Pearsall targets.
Ooh,
They're gonna get him involved.
Okay, James.
But Keegan's not going to, when are we talking about? What game?
Tonight.
I don't think Keegan's going to play. So
Oh yeah, that's right.
I
Okay,
mean,
hang on.
I'm going to say Pearsall.
Hang on. Let me. I'll redo that one here in a second. Scrap that. Scrap the Keegan Murray rebounds. We'll do Ricky Pearsall targets and something else. Juwan Jennings targets, James, or Kevin Herter field goal attempts.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go Juwan Jennings. I think they're going to push for 1,000.
Yep, I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
All right, well that kind of changes my answer. I'll go Juwan Jennings too. Then if that's what we're on.
Juwan Jennings might get like 15 targets.
All right, let's go Juwan Jennings.
They're going to try so hard to get him to 1,000.
I think so too.
All that matters. 49ers total points, Jesse, or Kings bench total points.
Can you top 10 49ers? Can you top 10? I'm going to go 49ers.
That's the route I went as well, James.
Oh, man.
Can you top 7 maybe? Can you score a touchdown and a field goal?
All right. I am going Sacramento Kings bench.
How many minutes is Keon Ellis getting?
Keon L's going to start.
Oh, well then, yeah, it's cooked. It's cooked. It's cooked. The 49ers are going to top that then.
I got Trey Lyles with
You're taking
11.
the now?
Yes, I've got 7 points from Kevin Herter.
Kings bench about to have the game of their life.
I'm not totally convinced that Josh Dobbs and the Niners offense is going to put up more than like 17.
Yeah, I'm taking the Kings
That's
bench
fine.
scoring more.
That's fine. That's more than enough.
Can you get a touchdown?
That's more than enough.
With the 2-point
Yes.
conversion.
Oh, man.
All right. Second to last one, because I got to think of something to do with Ricky Pearsall targets. Jake Moody made field goals or Alex Len made field goals? Setting the number at 1.
Can we do misses on this one?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Yeah. Jake Moody missed field goals. That's what we're going to do. That's a good idea, Jesse. Jake Moody missed field goals or Alex Len missed field goals?
I'm going to go Jake Moody on this one for the sake of the bit.
I'm taking Alex Len for the sake of the bit.
I went Jake Moody made field goals, but I'm also going to do Jake Moody missed field
There we
goals.
go.
Oof. I'm doing both. Ricky Pearsall targets, or we're going to do this on the fly.
How about Ricky Pearsall targets or De'Aaron Fox rebounds and assists?
Oh, we don't have a De'Aaron Fox in here. Okay, Ricky Pearsall targets. Okay, that's a good one. Nice shot, Jesse. Really well done. De'Aaron Fox rebounds and assists.
I'll go Ricky Pearsall targets. They got him involved last week a lot, so I'm going to stick with that.
I'm going to go De'Aaron Fox, although I think he only had 6 combined, maybe 7 combined rebounds, assists last game.
Mm-hmm.
That's atypical. I'm going to go higher.
So you're going De'Aaron?
Yeah, De'Aaron.
Okay. I think I'm going to go De'Aaron too, because I think Ricky Pearsall is going to get involved, but I think involved in the way that he gets like 6 targets. You're going to get a couple for George Kittle because Dobbs is just going to rely on him. That's the safety blanket. You're going to get a couple little checkdowns. And then I think it's going to be heavy Juwan Jennings. That's how I think it's going to go. Ricky Pearsall, give me in that 6-7 range. I think De'Aaron rebounds and assists eclipses that.
Okay.
This was a fun Mad Props.
So we're at. I think we're just going to keep it going through the NFL playoffs.
That works.
Oh, I'm in.
Why not?
Yeah.
I look forward to coming and hang out on Friday. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
look forward to having you, man. Thanks for dropping by. All right, here we go. NFL playoff clinching scenarios. We'll start Saturday. The Ravens play the Browns.
Yep.
The Ravens beat the Browns. They clinch the NFC North. The Steelers, if they beat Cincinnati and Baltimore loses to Cleveland, Pittsburgh wins the NFC North. I don't think that's happening. I think Baltimore is going to steamroll Cleveland.
Yeah.
That feels right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna, and I think it's gonna take, because I think that game happens first. I think it's gonna take a lot of the drama out of that second game.
Dorian Thompson also was just not very good.
Bad player.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss by me. I was
Just
a
call it
big,
what it is.
I was a big DTR guy.
Not
in the
very
draft.
good.
That was a whiff by your boy. But no, we are big Chiefs fans this weekend.
Oh yeah, Carson Wentz.
Let's
wherever
go.
you are, please.
Let's go.
I can't believe it. It's disgusting to be
So-
honest. Like this is whole being a sports fan. I'm depending on Carson Wentz.
And Snoop Huntley.
Yes. That's what's going to help me get me to the playoffs.
So if you're not familiar with the program or with Jesse is a big Miami Dolphins fan.
Yeah.
Facts.
Um,
Depend a lot of my life on it. It's absurd.
he needs a Dolphins win and a Broncos loss
It's not much.
to get Miami into the postseason. That's all they need.
Correct. That's it. No one else to lose. No one else to tie or whatever.
Yep,
Just
don't need anything
Broncos,
insane.
we need you to lose. And Dolphins, just do your job and beat the Jets.
Are the
Yeah, it's the Jets. Come on.
Sauce Gardner, somehow they quit last week.
okay, but Denver is not currently in. They have to win, right?
No.
Mm.
Denver is currently the 7th seed.
Yeah, if Denver would they if Denver, Miami, and Cincinnati were to lose, I think Denver's in. Denver just needs to win and they're fine.
Okay, but if Denver loses to Kansas City,
And Miami,
which is what you need.
yes, and Miami wins, then Miami is in.
Okay, but
it
Denver's going to
better-
be fighting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Denver's going
yeah.
to be trying, and
Yeah.
Kansas City is not.
Yeah.
There's
Kansas City's got the 1 seed.
this is
locked
fun.
in.
Miami needs a miracle. Like she's
Yeah.
playing a lot of their backups and all that.
Mhm.
Like Denver should take care of
Would it be
business.
better to miss the playoffs? So let's say you win on Sunday, but Denver beats the Chiefs and you miss playoffs. or make the playoffs and get boat raced by Buffalo in the first round?
See, that's the thing. If you make the playoffs, are you gonna get boat raced? It's tough to beat a team. No, hey, relax. It's tough to beat a team 3 times in a row in one season. That's what they say. That's what they say. All right, don't do this to me. I'm already thinking about Buffalo already. Okay, I'm already scheming up, trying to figure out how we could take down Josh Allen.
Calling Mike McDaniel. Let him know
how we don't lose by 30. Don't do that to me yet.
Okay.
No, I don't want to miss the playoffs. You never want to miss the playoffs.
When the Niners there after
I would rather get killed
after the Niners beat the Bears, it was like, oh, they got life. I was like, I hope they don't.
You got to
I
understand.
don't want to see him go to Philly and get mollywopped.
My first memories of the Dolphins began in like 2002. So Ricky Williams was great, but like Dan Marino was gone. The team's just been ass.
Ooh.
So it's like we don't have many playoff appearances. So like I'll take an ass whooping against the Bills compared to we missed it.
Although
again.
I thought you were going to get an ass whooping against the Bills when Skylar Thompson started, and Skylar Thompson nearly beat.
Buddy, we're so down bad as a sports fan. I'll go back and watch highlights of that game, and I'll cut it off after Zach Sealer scores a touchdown to take the lead.
We need Miami to make the playoffs.
Yes. We're starving. We're starving.
What do you got? Oh man. In the NFC South, Tampa Bay needs to win. They got to beat New Orleans or tie New Orleans, or they need Atlanta to lose to Carolina. I'll tell you what, with Tampa Bay, I would want the loser of Detroit, Minnesota, which is the Sunday night game.
Mm-hmm.
Winner of that game is the number 1 seed, clinches the NFC North. Loser has to go to Tampa Bay in the wild card round. I'd want no smoke with Tampa Bay in that game.
Yeah, give me Detroit if I'm the Bucks.
Dude, yeah, Detroit flying high, feeling good all year. All of a sudden, they got to go on the road in round 1 of the playoffs. Oh,
Tampa Bay will hang up 40 on you too.
That's scary hours, dude. All right, I think that's all we got for NFL playoff clinching scenarios. Go Chiefs, go Dolphins.
Facts.
What do you guys got on D'Lo and Casey?
It's gonna be a lot of Kings today. A lot of Kings.
Yep.
Maybe Devin Carter is playing today, right?
Sounds like it.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Well, he's eligible. He's available to play.
Okay, yeah. So it sounds like he might or whatever. So just talk a lot of Kings, 49ers. James Ham will be there. Be a good time.
Can't wait. I'll be there too.
Oh, Kyle Madsen will be there as well.
Also gonna be there. It's fine.
Yeah.
D'Lo and Casey coming up next. James and I, a great week, man. We crushed it this week. We will be back Monday at 10 a.m. right here, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. We're the Insiders. Have a great, safe weekend, everybody. And until Monday at 10 a.m., drink water and be nice to people. This is ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. Woo!